Hey guys, Stephanie here with the Aeroponic Tower channel, and today I wanted to discuss how to grow an abundance of greens, specifically baby greens, in a tower garden so that you can start replacing the grocery store in just a couple of weeks. Whether you're growing inside or out, this method works to get you to have food on the table quickly and consistently. We're coming to the end of the summer gardening season and moving into fall, which means the towers look a little messy and everything's ready to be trimmed and many things removed as we move into the fall gardens. But the abundance is still carrying on. And as we move into these cooler seasons, it's a great time to start going back to growing all the beautiful baby greens. And the thing I love most about growing baby greens on a hydroponic, aeroponic tower garden is that it's so quick, they taste so amazing, and it really is one of the most tangible ways to start replacing the grocery store. As you branch off into things like peppers and tomatoes and eggplants and turnips and green beans, these are also simple things to grow, but they do require a little bit more skill. But baby greens, you can get those started and have them on the table in just weeks. Hey guys, Stephanie here with the Aeroponic Tower channel, and I was working on some videos for my course that's coming out, and it just got me thinking that I wanted to make a video for you guys here too to answer a question that I get quite often and just really show you some practical tools to use to grow a ton of greens, specifically to replace greens from the grocery store. So as a content creator, I get approached by companies, and I've been sent other growing models, not from Tower Garden before. I am actually going to make a video on one that I do like that's inside of our house, but they are not on the same scale as the Tower Garden. It's a whole different concept. All of the ones that I've been sent, and some of them I've just had to refuse and say that I'm not willing to do a review on them because they don't line up with my goals and what I think makes for a good growing system if you're trying to replace the majority of your groceries or a significant amount of things at the grocery store. And that's what these do. And I was at a gathering once talking to somebody, and there was a tower there, and a woman said, yeah, but you could never replace the grocery store with that. You could never replace the greens you buy at the grocery store with just one tower. And actually what I have found, especially through using my methods, that is actually not true. You can grow an enormous amount of greens replacing the grocery store completely. Now, if you have 10 people in your house, you may need 2 of them to do it. There's obviously some lettuce math involved in there, but the amount of greens you can grow on a tower is pretty huge if you're following some of my tips on how to do that. So I'm going to walk you through this tower, and then I'm going to show you guys just very specifically how to grow an enormous amount of greens on one single tower. Now, this is my home tower, and a home tower is going to come this height, and that's why this cage, this is what we call a grow cage, is only this tall. The rest of this is an extension. The top of my tower is up here, and this is a baby greens extension. If you want to replace the grocery store with greens, especially if you eat a lot of those plastic tubs of organic baby greens, this is the way to do it. This is a super simple way. You can grow greens in just weeks. You could easily be harvesting your first set of greens in just 3 weeks on a tower like this. So let me walk you through what's on here, and then I'm going to show you exactly how to do it. So on this tower, I have a lot of different things. I have lettuce. This is just a standard leaf lettuce here, and I had some extra seeds, so I threw them in as baby greens. You harvest them when they're about this size, and I'm multi-seeding these. So here is an example. I have a bunch of baby greens. There's probably 20 plants in here. I just took a pinch of whatever lettuce I had. I was actually cleaning up my seeds and just trying to get rid of seeds, and put all of them in a rock wool so I could get these baby greens. Now what you do is when they get this size, you just cut them And this is the one exception where I say to cut everything and let it grow back, because you'll often hear me say not to do that. And the reason why is I will see towers and people who grow on towers who will come and harvest some lettuce. And they'll do that for like 8 months until their lettuce is growing this long leg and it's all weird. And it doesn't benefit the tower to leave food in it that long. It doesn't benefit you from a health perspective to eat lettuce that's been sitting in there forever. It's not gonna taste as good. They're gonna get bitter. The texture is gonna get weird. It's better to grow something to maturity, like an apple cabbage or a bok choy, pull it out and start over. That is my opinion, just my preference. Obviously, other people have different opinions and like to do things differently, and that's totally fine. But that's why you won't see me take a bok choy, for example, cut it and let it grow back. But with baby greens, I will do that one time. I have found that one time is fine and they grow back okay. After that, they start to get a little what I would call murky, in that you're going to cut it here and you're gonna leave about 1.5 inches, 2 inches. And what will start to happen is you'll start to get some die off after you cut it, where some things don't grow back. It just gets a little murky and a little sloppy, and they're not as appealing that way. So I like to cut them once and let them regrow. Now this lettuce, this is a leaf lettuce. This is not one that I typically like to do baby greens with because it gets a little bit long and leggy. Let me show you another one. But I wanted to use up some seeds. Don't want them to go to waste, so this makes an excellent salad still. This one right here is a better example. This is like an oak leaf Crispino lettuce. This is like a blend of different lettuces. We've got some crispy lettuce in here, some Lola Rosa, some leaf lettuce, some oak leaf lettuce, and you can just see how much one little rock wool. Now the rock wool's in the baby greens extension kit. You don't put any kind of net pot or anything in there. You just put the rock wool. So these have nice healthy roots. There's not much root system to them. That's what we want, because these are just growing very quickly. This took 3 weeks to get to this size. That right there is a half a salad for me. I like big salads. My husband likes really big salads, so he needs about 3 of these. So that gives you an idea of how many you would need to plant. Now I've got 64 grow ports on this. So just in the baby green section, I have 48 baby greens sections. So I can grow 48 bundles of baby greens. That is plenty for most families. If you're eating baby greens several times a week, if you're having salad several times a week, this will cover it. I'm gonna cut this, and then in 2 weeks this is gonna be regrown. I will harvest it again, and I will have seedlings ready to go to replace these after that second time. And that's the key. If you want to replace the grocery store and all the greens you're growing, yes, you can do it with one tower depending on how many people are in the family, but you need to be on top of your seedlings and starting new seeds. So down here on the ground, I already have lots of new starts ready to take the place of anything I take out of this tower. They are ready to go. Now, when do you harvest them? That's up to you. You know, it just depends on texture and age. Sometimes I let them go a little bit longer than this, and then you get even more salad, right? If you harvest them super young, you're obviously gonna need to cut more than one to make a salad. If you let this get a little bit larger, even doubled in size, which easily can happen right here on the tower, then you don't have to harvest as many of them. I have some cilantro and some dill on this tower, and some chives and some basil and some watercress over here. I don't even remember where I got this from. Oh, here we go. Sometimes what I will do is something like this arugula. This right here is arugula, and I heavily seeded this one, even more so than the lettuce, and I use sprouting seeds for this. And a lot of times I'll do that with my lettuce too. The only reason you're not seeing that so much with this lettuce is because I was trying to get rid of some seed packages, and I just didn't have as many of them. But when you do my method of using sprouting seeds, and I'll show you guys those in the garage in a minute, Look at how many seeds I'm using in here. I don't know if you guys can see that. There is probably 50 plants in here. There are so many. And this is double the amount of food that this lettuce is, but takes up the exact same amount of space. It's held together by the other plants, so you wouldn't even know there's a difference in how many are in here until you take it out, and then it's just massive. This is an entire salad. I'm actually gonna eat this tonight. It smells so amazing. And this is arugula. Now arugula, I do not cut and let it grow again. I just start over. Arugula will definitely change its texture and its flavor the more you harvest it. And you know, you can cut this once and the flavor would probably stay about the same, but I just have trained myself to harvest my arugula like this. A lot of times I'll go and put it in a cup of water inside and let it sit for a day until I have time to eat it if I have new starch ready to go in. But you can just see the abundance one harvest is. This was 3 weeks, guys. So this is what I'm talking about and how you can replace the grocery store really quickly. So let's go inside and let me show you guys how to do this on your own, and how to plant your seeds out. Oh, that is so good. And before we go inside and I show you how to start your seeds like this, I wanted to just talk a little bit about what's on this tower, because there's some cool things on this tower. I have all my greens to replace the grocery store up here. I also have things like watercress for my juicing. And I have stinging nettle. It's actually been stinging me because I keep bumping into it. This is a superfood. I dehydrate it and make our teas with it. I make a pesto with it. You have to boil it first. Teas, it's a superfood. It's amazing. And the thing with that is just keep harvesting off of it. This is one where you're gonna come cut and let it regrow and cut and regrow and just make a collection of your nettle. Over here I have cilantro, and I'm keeping it towards the bottom or in the middle section here because it's shading it a little bit and protecting it from the sun, because cilantro is going to want to bolt. I've got some dill. Dill gets huge, so I will have to keep harvesting off my dill to make sure it doesn't take over the whole tower. Anything you plant at the top of the tower is going to get the most sun and grow the fastest. So I went ahead and put my basil up here. It's actually tripled in size in just 2 weeks. It's doing amazing. I have so much basil on the towers. I also put my chives up here because I really want to have a lot of access, because I want access to a lot of chives. And then it just tapers down. Here's my lettuce. I get into my herbs to flavor our salads. I've got some medicinals over on this side. There's some lemon balm. Excellent medicine. Excellent herb for tea. It's also really, really good in salads. You don't want to use too much of it, but you take a few leaves and it won't hurt you if you use too much, but it can be very potent. Oh, it's so nice. It smells like a lemon gumdrop. And you just shred that, like julienne it up, just like you would basil. Put that in your salads. It adds so much depth. I've got thyme in here that can be used in salads. I've got oregano on the other side, arugula, watercress, peppery cress. All of these things are superfoods and greens that we can have for dinner every night. And then towards the bottom of my tower here, I just decided to grow peas. I had this cage for my home unit here. I actually bought this by accident, but I'm glad I did, because I decided I just want to grow all my peas on one tower and just really let them be the shining star at the bottom of this tower. I harvested this one for dinner, so let's replace it with another seedling. I'll show you guys what that looks like, and then we'll go inside and start some more seeds. It was actually a plant here, this arugula, and it was a little bit smaller because like I mentioned, anything towards the top is just going to grow a little bit faster. So I'm going to put this one down here. I think there's rain coming. Ah! Okay guys, I got rained out, but I want to just quickly show you how to do this on your own. I talked about how our goal is to get greens really fast to replace the grocery store. We don't let them get too big because we want to be eating them and turning them over. And what that really means is that not only are you going to be cutting them and letting some of them, if it's lettuce seeds, grow back one time, you're also going to be starting seeds every 2 to 3 weeks, so that you make sure you always have something that you can pull out and another thing to put in. And it's better to pull things out too young and eat them and have something else ready to take its place than it is to forget to start your seeds and not have any food, right? So that's the turnover part of the greens. It's just staying on top of it. And to start your seeds, it's literally a 10-minute job. It's raining right now, sorry for the rain. It's a little bit loud on our tin roof. But all you're going to do is take your seed tray, and I link all this stuff in the description below if you need any of these supplies. I like these small ones because it allows me to group my food into what's going to sprout at the same time, because you never want to start like a pepper, which takes a while to sprout, with some baby greens, because your greens are going to pop right up, and we want to keep a dome on these, and your pepper's going to take a while. So I try to pair them up with like friends when I'm sprouting, so these small trays make it really convenient like that. And also with this type of growing, if you've been a soil gardener, you know, it can take so much space and so much dirt and so many seed trays to start seeds, because you're trying to get all your harvest in at the right time, so then it grows and then you're getting it out, and then you may start seeds again, but usually it's like every 3 months based on the season. That's not what we're doing here. Here we are turning things over all the time, and so even though the amount of food that comes off one tower compared to somebody's raised bed who's growing seasonally, it may look like they have so much more food, but we have to keep in mind that they're harvesting that food one time, and then they have to go through the whole process again, which is very time consuming, and we're not doing that. We're taking little bites of our work off our plate a couple of times a month and continuously growing a lot of food. So I hope that makes sense and kind of paints the picture for our goals here. Because sometimes I'll be starting seeds, and I have 9 towers. I grow a ton of food, and I'm like, this is all I'm starting? How is that gonna feed us? But it's because we're turning these over so fast, and I'm doing this every 2 weeks. So what I did was I took my rock wool. You could fit 12 in here, and this is what your rock wool looks like dry. And I sat it in here with just water for 20 minutes. If you are on city water that has a lot of chlorine in it, you definitely don't want to use that to start your seeds. It's not as important if you're growing in that kind of water. It's not going to make a significant difference to your plants, but when you're starting your seeds, it can damage seedlings and hinder seed growth. When people are struggling to start their seeds, it's usually because of the water quality, if it's a continual struggle. So there's only really 5 things that can interfere with germination, and it's either too hot, too cold, too wet, too dry, or your seeds have gone bad. And then the 6th one would be that there's something in your water that's really hindering your plants from germinating. So definitely use bottled water or some kind of purified water if you're on city water. And then for outside, I would recommend putting a filter on your hose, just for your own benefits anyway. You don't want that stuff on your body if they put a lot of chemicals in your water, and that water would be cleaned to go into the tank when you're growing your food. So here I soaked these for 20 minutes, and then all you're gonna do is take your seeds, and because we're growing big bouquets is what I call them of greens, we want to use sprouting seeds. And the difference between sprouting seeds, here is a package of greens. This one cost me $5. Now this is a specialty company. It's rareseeds.com. They've got just really unique things and are known for their heirlooms. So I'm paying a premium for this one. But even at like the least expensive I've seen is about $3 for a package of seeds these days. Very expensive. And we're using a large pinch of these seeds at a time, so really just feeling in here. This might be enough to do 2 rock wools if I was heavily seeding them like I've mentioned, and that would be very expensive. That would be $2.50 for 1 rock wool full of greens. So we don't want to use seed packages like this, unless of course you find them on clearance. I do that all the time. If someone's got a big clearance sale of greens, I'll buy them all up and then I'll use them up this way. But you can do sprouting seeds, and I'll put a link to these below. This is from True Leaf, and they have an amazing variety of greens, and specifically lettuce in their sprouting seed catalog, which I find to be so helpful. So this one right here is Lola Rosa, and it is 97% germination rate. It's got the date on it. And this is a 1 ounce package. That is a lot of seeds. This package is filled to here. That's a lot of seeds. That is probably 20 times what you would get in a seed packet, if not more. So this is the way to buy them. I don't remember exactly how much these were, but it saves a ton. The other ones that I purchased are a baby greens mix, specifically for baby greens. This is a 4 ounce, and it's got salad bowl red, Black Seeded Simpson, Butter Crunch, Cimarron, Oak Leaf, Paris Island, and Prize Head. That's what's in here. Germination 98%. This one is a 4-ounce package, and this is a mesclun baby green, so like your mustards and things. This is crisp head lettuce. This is going to be a crispier baby green, and this is a 4-ounce package, 85% germination rate, so a little bit lower on that one. And then the other one I purchased was a leaf lettuce, and you saw me with some leaf lettuce out there. The leaf lettuce tend to be a little bit more leggy, but you can let them get bigger. I've noticed leaf lettuce tend to be fine growing a little bit bigger as baby greens. So all you're gonna do is take your rock wool and that's already soaked for 20 minutes, and you take a hefty pinch. And I fill up half of this hole, about halfway, with seeds. So I don't know how that, to me it's about a fingernail's depth. And so I'm just gonna fill it, this one's not wet, but just to show you guys, almost halfway, just slightly under halfway with the seeds, and then we top it off with our vermiculite, which I don't have here on the table, but that just looks like this. If you spill seeds on the top of the rock wool, I did on this one, it doesn't matter because they will root into that rock wool and will grow right out at the top of it versus the whole. Because we're doing so many baby greens, it actually doesn't matter if a couple of them spill, so don't worry about that. And then all we're gonna do after that is put our dome on to create a mini greenhouse effect. And this is gonna go on a heat mat if your temperatures are below 70, 75. And if they're above 75, you don't wanna put it on a heat mat. So that's all there is to it. And I would say if your temperatures are consistently at 75, like in the nighttime, when I say 75, I am considering that daytime temperatures, and then at night it could be a lot cooler, like in the 50s in our area. If we're in the 70s in the day, that's when I would want this on a heat mat because I am growing in a non-temperature controlled area. If you're in your house and your house stays about 75 degrees consistently, it might not be necessary to put this on a heat mat, or if you do, make sure the heat mat is not turned all the way up to high heat and just do it on slight heat. And that's it. Once they sprout, we take off the lid, and I like to put mine under a grow lamp, or if I'm going to be growing these outside, once they get a few of their true leaves, not just the germination, not just the sprout leaves, but once they start to get some of their true leaves, I will take them outside. So until then, they need to be under some sort of grow light. So I highly recommend invest in a heat mat, some of these small containers, a nice grow light, and I have 3 of them behind the camera here, and I grow on 9 towers, 365 days a year, with a really fast turnover rate of our food, just on 3 little grow stations. So you only need a minimum amount of stuff to start your seeds. All right, I hope this information helps you to get growing and replacing the grocery store quickly. That is the goal. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments below, and I will see you guys on the next video.